Hey Charles, guess what? I got a new Blu-ray in the mail today.
Oh, wow.
It's the Oscar Micheaux Complete Collection from Kino on video. What can you tell us about this so far?
I'll tell you one thing. When I was doing my research, these films were hard to get, or if you saw any of them, they were hard to see. Now, the technology has worked on them, cleaned them up, and Oscar Micheaux, much of his work is available to the public in a cleaner way. Sound is better. Everything's improved. This is something I wish I had years ago.
Can't you see Naomi's unhappy? Of course I see it. But why? Don't you know why? Then I'll tell you.
Oh, Mommy, please make him go away. Please make him go away.
Well, I'll go. But if Ma's so dumb, she ought to know what's the matter with you. Everybody else does. You just don't want to be colored, that's all.
We'll go over some of the titles. I mean, now, Oscar Micheaux made a couple dozen movies in his lifetime, 30, so.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be careful because some of the films were given alternate titles, and some people counted one film twice.
Right. So this is everything that still remains of his filmography. Like, he made 3 silent films, Only Within Our Gates still exists. So this is everything that's still in existence from director Oscar Micheaux. In some cases, there's partials, like, in the case of, Temptation and After Midnight, they only have the trailer. And I must say that they've done a great job cleaning these up. I know you're going to see this soon. But they're not pristine. Don't expect Casablanca in 4K. These movies were made on the low for black audiences specifically. And they were preserved by prints from all these various collections, including the George Eastman House and the National Museum of African American History, SMU Libraries, the UCLA Library, and the Museum of Modern Art, and the Library of Congress. So this is the most complete thing that you're going to find on Oscar Micheaux. But again, don't expect the most pristine quality on all of the films but absolutely expect it to be the best that you can find, right?
What was great is the fact that years ago, I had the opportunity to work with one of the actors who appeared in some of the Oscar Micheaux films, Lorenzo Tucker, who was known as the Black Valentino. And he told me what it was like making films under the direction of Oscar Micheaux.
I'll share a story.
Yeah, Tucker was something. A lot of times he over-exaggerated his true significance as an actor with Oscar Micheaux. He wanted me to help him do a book he was going to title Oscar Micheaux and Me. But he introduced me to a number of the people who appear in some of these films, and he told me what it was like. He said a lot of times Oscar Micheaux, he was suffering with something. He had like stomach trouble. So a lot of times when he would direct, he was uncomfortable and he would be reclining on a couch and he would be giving direction. A lot of where they filmed the scenes, he would go to different people and tell them what he was doing, making films, and he would get them to let him use their living quarters, so he used his friends' houses and things like that. One of the funny scenes that Lorenzo told me is that, hey man, this guy he didn't want to pay anything. He was doing everything on the cheap. As you said, these things were not financed. But he said, let's say we had a dinner scene, and the plates with food would be put on the table, and we were hungry. We would start eating the food, and Oscar was just, come on now, stop eating. Those are props. Lorenzo said, man, but we hungry. And then he says there was one scene which was funny. Lorenzo said they used a toy train to represent the train coming into the town, and someone was going to get off the train and come to a new town and experience what was happening in that area. He said he filmed the toy train, and for the smoke, he put a cigarette in there so that the smoke would come from the cigarette. He said, but you could obviously see it was a cigarette. So Lorenzo said, we would tell him, man, you can't let that go through. Oscar Micheaux would say, it's not going to be long, and who's going to care? You know what I mean? What's unique about Oscar Micheaux, and as you say, these things are not what we usually expect, where you have this pristine quality and everything like that. The legacy is that we have some evidence of what Oscar was doing. This guy was an entrepreneur in many ways. When you see what Tyler Perry has accomplished as an independent filmmaker, someone who is indefatigable doing his art. Oscar Micheaux started out with his books, and then he would go along, and here's something Lorenzo told me. He said, you take an actress, one of the featured actresses that worked with Oscar Micheaux was an actress named Ethel Moses. She was gorgeous, right? So Oscar Micheaux would film her scantily clad and sitting on a chair, not much on her, and he would take the photograph and he would go around to the local theaters and say, here's an image of something that's going to be in my next film. And he used that to help him get booking and to help raise funds so that he could continue being the iconic filmmaker that he historically has become.
Okay, so folks, I mean, you definitely want to get this if you're into black film, black cinema. The Oscar Micheaux collection is out now from Kino. You can find it wherever you find Blu-rays.